Vladimir Putin has once again taken a vocal stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict during a live broadcast, where he reflected on the year's developments and answered questions from journalists and the Russian public. During the broadcast, Putin reiterated his call for the establishment of a Palestinian state alongside an Israeli state, a solution endorsed by the UN Security Council in 2003. Vladimir Putin has consistently reiterated his unwavering support for the two-state solution. Ahead of the recent BRICS summit, he extended a notable invitation to Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian Authority, further solidifying Russia's commitment to addressing the Palestinian cause on the global stage. During the summit, the adoption of the Kazan Declaration underscored BRICS's steadfast dedication to the Palestinian issue. The declaration voiced deep concern over the escalating humanitarian crisis in the occupied Palestinian territories, stating, "We reiterate our grave concern at the deterioration of the situation and humanitarian crisis in the occupied Palestinian territory. In particular, the unprecedented escalation of violence in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank as a result of the Israeli military offensive, which led to mass killing and injury of civilians." Moreover, the declaration reaffirmed support for Palestinian statehood, emphasizing, "We reaffirm our support for the State of Palestine's full membership in the United Nations in the context of the unwavering commitment to the vision of the two-state solution based on international law." This endorsement reflects the BRICS nations' collective stance on addressing the crisis and achieving a just resolution through the establishment of an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, in line with international law and longstanding global commitments. The Security Council Resolution 1515 from 2003, Vladimir Putin often references to stems from the resolution of the Middle East Quartet, a diplomatic group consisting of the United Nations, the European Union, the United States, and Russia. The quartet was established to mediate peace between Israelis and Palestinians and promote stability in the region. In 2003, the quartet introduced a roadmap for peace, a comprehensive plan aimed at resolving the conflict. Endorsed by Security Council Resolution 1515, the roadmap envisioned the creation of an independent and viable Palestinian state living peacefully and securely alongside Israel. The UN Security Council is one of the UN's most powerful bodies, responsible for maintaining international peace and security, which includes passing resolutions that countries are expected to follow. However, Security Council Resolution 1515 remains unfulfilled, along with subsequent resolutions addressing the two-state solution. One of the main reasons for this is that efforts to enforce aspects of the two-state solution, such as halting Israeli settlements or recognizing Palestinian statehood, are often blocked by the United States using its veto power in the UN Security Council. The UN Security Council has 15 members, 5 permanent ones: the United States, Russia, China, France, and the United Kingdom, and 10 non-permanent members that rotate every 2 years. The permanent members have a special privilege, veto power, meaning they can block any resolution even if all other members agree. Although the United States, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, endorsed resolutions like 1515, its contrasting use of veto power has frequently blocked other proposed solutions, particularly those critical of Israel's policies. Since 1970, the United States has exercised its veto power in the United Nations Security Council at least 34 times to block resolutions critical of Israel concerning the Israel-Palestine conflict. These vetoes have addressed various issues, including Israeli settlement activities, military actions, and calls for ceasefires during periods of heightened conflict. For instance, in November 2024, 14 of the 15 members of the UN Security Council voted in favor of a resolution demanding an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip amid ongoing hostilities. However, the US stood as the sole dissenting voice, using its veto power to block the measure. Similarly, in February 2024, the US blocked a draft resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. These actions underscore the US's consistent use of its veto power to shield Israel from international censure within the UNSC. The ongoing conflict in Gaza has resulted in devastating humanitarian consequences, with significant casualties and injuries that highlight the severity of the crisis. As of January 2, 2025, at least 45,541 Palestinians have been killed, including 17,492 children, who account for a large portion of the fatalities. Women and children combined make up nearly 70% of the casualties, underscoring the disproportionate impact on vulnerable populations. Additionally, over 108,338 individuals have been injured, many of whom now face long-term disabilities and urgent medical needs. Gaza now holds the grim distinction of having the highest number of child amputees per capita in the world. South Africa has submitted a nearly 5,000-page document to the International Court of Justice, accusing Israel of committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This legal effort highlights alleged systematic and widespread violations of the 1948 Genocide Convention, focusing on actions purportedly aimed at the destruction of the Palestinian population. Amnesty International has reinforced these allegations through a comprehensive report accusing Israel of deliberate actions to dismantle Palestinian society. The report emphasizes that these actions cannot be justified by Hamas's October 2023 attack on Israel, or the presence of militants in civilian areas. Amnesty also said the United States and other allies of Israel could be complicit in genocide, and called on them to halt arms shipments. The question of when the vision of a Palestinian state will become a reality lingers, especially in light of the ongoing obstacles. The two-state solution remains elusive despite numerous international commitments. The complexities of achieving this goal are magnified by geopolitical dynamics, particularly the United States' role in the United Nations Security Council, where its frequent use of veto power has stalled many resolutions addressing the conflict. The U.S.'s unwavering support for Israel raises questions about its motivations and the broader implications for global diplomacy. Why does one nation consistently shield another from international censure, even when faced with mounting evidence of humanitarian violations? As global leaders grapple with this impasse, there is a growing call for transformative action. Could a figure like Vladimir Putin, known for his assertive diplomacy and influence in global affairs, play a pivotal role in shifting the dynamics of the conflict? Putin's vocal support for the two-state solution and his positioning within BRICS suggest a potential to reshape the discourse. Meanwhile, questions linger about the role the United States might play in the conflict's resolution due to the change in leadership. However, Donald Trump's actions in the past have demonstrated a clear alignment with Israel's positions, raising doubts about whether his re-election would bring a fresh approach to the Israel-Palestine conflict. In 2017, Trump formally recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, a move that broke with decades of U.S. policy and international consensus. By relocating the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, he effectively sidelined Palestinian claims to East Jerusalem as the capital of their future state, a cornerstone of the two-state solution. This decision was widely criticized for undermining the prospects for peace and for disregarding Palestinian aspirations. In 2019, Trump further cemented his support for Israel by signing a proclamation recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, a territory captured from Syria during the Six-Day War in 1967. This move contravened international law and United Nations Security Council resolutions, which regard the Golan Heights as occupied territory. By endorsing Israel's annexation, Trump set a precedent that many saw as legitimizing unilateral territorial claims, further complicating regional dynamics. These actions, though taken before October 7, 2023, underscore a pattern of policy decisions that heavily favored Israel. Given this track record, the question arises, would Trump truly bring a new perspective to the Israel-Palestine conflict? Or would he double down on traditional U.S. stances that have historically shielded Israel from international scrutiny? As the international community continues to debate the path forward, the question of whether a new or reimagined leadership, be it from global figures like Putin or Trump, can shift the dynamics remains unanswered. What is clear is the enduring need for committed, balanced, and principled efforts to realize the vision of a Palestinian state alongside Israel, in accordance with international law and humanitarian imperatives.